The poor black girl whispered, her voice trembling as she stood in the rain outside the enormous iron gates of the billionaire's estate. Marcus Whitmore, one of the wealthiest men in Chicago, barely looked at her. At 58, he had built an empire from nothing. His name appeared on magazine covers, business channels, and charity galas. Yet those closest to him knew he had become cold after losing his wife and daughter in a tragic car accident 15 years earlier. "Go to a shelter," he said without emotion. "This isn't a place for strangers." The girl lowered her eyes. She couldn't have been older than 16. Her clothes were soaked, and she carried nothing except a worn backpack. "Please," she whispered, "I can clean, cook, work in the garden. I just need somewhere safe for one night." Marcus sighed impatiently. His driver quietly leaned toward him. "Sir, it's freezing outside." Marcus glanced at the dark sky. For a moment, something stirred inside him, a memory of his own childhood, when he had slept in abandoned buildings after his father died. "One night," he said firmly. "That's all." The girl's face lit up with relief. "Thank you, sir. I promise, I won't let you down." Her name was Amara. She had lost both parents within 2 years. After bouncing between relatives who treated her like unpaid help, she finally ran away when one uncle tried to force her into dangerous situations. She never told Marcus the whole story. She simply worked. The next morning, before sunrise, the housekeeper discovered the kitchen sparkling clean. The silverware gleamed. Breakfast was prepared. Fresh flowers decorated the dining table. "Who did this?" the housekeeper asked. "I did," Amara answered shyly. Marcus noticed immediately. "You cooked?" "Yes, sir. You weren't asked." "I know." He tasted the pancakes. They reminded him of breakfasts his late wife used to make. He quietly finished every bite. Days passed. One night became 3. 3 became a week. Without anyone asking, Amara repaired broken flower beds. She organized storage rooms. She learned every employee's name. She smiled at everyone. Even the grumpiest gardener began laughing again. The mansion slowly felt alive. Something it hadn't been for years. One afternoon Marcus overheard something unexpected. One of the cleaners had dropped an expensive crystal vase worth thousands of dollars. She burst into tears. "I'll lose my job." Before Marcus could step in, Amara spoke. "It was my fault." The cleaner looked shocked. "But, it's okay." Marcus walked into the room. "You broke it." Amara nodded. "Yes, sir." He stared at her silently. Later that evening security footage revealed the truth. Amara hadn't touched the vase. She had lied to protect someone else. Marcus couldn't understand why. When he asked her, she answered simply. "She has 3 children. You could have been fired." "I know. Why would you risk that?" Amara smiled gently. Sometimes people need kindness more than justice. Those words stayed with him. Weeks later Marcus invited several business partners to dinner. Everything had to be perfect. During the meal one wealthy investor quietly slipped a priceless antique watch into his briefcase. No one noticed, except Amara. She politely approached. "Excuse me, sir." The man frowned. "Yes, I think you accidentally packed Mr. Whitmore's watch." The room fell silent. The investor laughed nervously. "Oh, what an embarrassing mistake." Marcus knew immediately it wasn't a mistake. The partnership ended that night. Later Marcus asked, "Weren't you afraid?" "A little. He could have ruined your future." Amara shrugged. "My parents always said honesty protects people." Marcus hadn't heard words like that in years. Slowly the billionaire changed. He began eating with the staff. He reopened the library that had been locked since his daughter's death. He even started smiling. Employees whispered among themselves, "The old Mr. Whitmore is coming back." One rainy afternoon Marcus found Amara sitting alone in the greenhouse reading an old biology textbook. "You like science?" "I love it." "School?" She looked away. "I had to leave." "Why?" "I couldn't afford to stay." Marcus remained silent. "What did you dream of becoming?" "A doctor." She laughed softly. "Sounds impossible now." Marcus said nothing, but the next morning an envelope waited outside her bedroom. Inside was a scholarship application. Tuition, housing, books, everything paid. She stared at it in disbelief. "Sir," Marcus interrupted gently, "this isn't charity." "What is it?" "It's an investment." Tears filled her eyes. "I don't know how to thank you." Graduate. Months passed. Amara excelled in school. Every report card came with top grades. Every holiday she returned to the mansion to help the staff. She never forgot where she came from. Marcus watched proudly. For the first time in years, he felt like life still had purpose. Then came the phone call. Marcus collapsed during an important meeting. Heart attack. Emergency surgery. Doctors needed rare blood immediately. His blood type was extremely uncommon. Hospitals searched desperately. Time was running out. When Amara heard the news, she rushed across the city. Her blood matched perfectly. Without hesitation she donated. The surgery succeeded. When Marcus woke days later, the doctor smiled. "You were lucky," Marcus asked weakly. "Who saved me?" The doctor pointed toward the waiting room. Amara sat there asleep in a chair, still wearing her university hoodie. Marcus quietly cried. After recovering, Marcus invited the media to a press conference. Reporters expected another business announcement. Instead Marcus stood beside Amara. "This young woman changed my life." Cameras flashed. "I believed success meant wealth." He shook his head. "I was wrong." He looked at Amara. "Real wealth is compassion." Then he announced the creation of the Amara Foundation, providing scholarships, housing, and mentorship for homeless teenagers who dreamed of attending college. The first donation, $100 million. The audience stood and applauded. Amara covered her face, overwhelmed. Years later, Dr. Amara Johnson walked through the children's wing of Whitmore Medical Center, now one of the nation's leading hospitals. Young patients smiled as she entered every room. Outside the entrance stood a bronze statue. Not of Marcus, but of a teenage girl holding an old backpack. The inscription read, "Please let me stay. I won't let you down." Beneath it were Marcus Whitmore's own words. "The day I opened my door to a stranger, she opened my heart." Marcus often sat on a nearby bench watching families come and go. One afternoon a reporter asked him, "What was your greatest investment?" He smiled toward Amara, now comforting a frightened little boy before surgery. "Not a company, not real estate, not stocks. My greatest investment was believing in one person, when she had almost no one left to believe in her." The reporter nodded. "And did she keep her promise?" Marcus's eyes filled with quiet pride. He smiled. "No." The reporter looked confused. Marcus chuckled softly. "She did far more than that. And because one frightened girl refused to give up, thousands of children found hope, hundreds of families found healing, and one lonely billionaire discovered that the richest life is the one spent lifting others. Sometimes, all it takes to change the world is opening a single door."